All right, folks, we got Samurai versus Samurai, Ubisoft versus Sucker Punch, Assassin's Creed versus Ghost of Tsushima. Two games set in feudal Japan, two games promising to deliver the ultimate samurai experience. But if you're a casual gamer with limited time, which one actually makes you want to keep playing? I played both of these games completely blind, and in this video, I'm breaking down which one grabs you faster, keeps you playing longer, and ultimately delivers the better samurai combat. This comparison is strictly based on the first 2 hours of both games. I'm judging them based on story, combat, and overall fun factor. So let's dive in. Which game actually delivers the better experience? So right off the bat, from the start of Ghost of Tsushima, it dives you right into the action. You become Jin Sakai from the very start. You start off the game, they're 80 down to a whole army of the Mongols, and it's time to get busy. You hop on horseback, you get into the battle, the thick of the battle. You have no idea what is going on. They don't give you any combat tutorials. You don't even know what button to press. It is like you are in the fight for real. It is like somebody really threw you in the middle of feudal Japan and said, hey, yo, let's get busy. That's exactly what it felt like. I had to figure out the buttons as I went, and it was exhilarating. And what I learned from this is that you learn the mechanics organically from this game. So as you play, you learn. So they made it part of the gameplay functions for you to learn, but to push the plot forward at the same time. And I think that was pretty amazing. So there's no disconnected tutorial here for you to learn how the combat works. Nope. We're not doing that. We're going to learn as we go. We're going to play as we learn, and we're going to have a great time. That's how we start off Ghost of Tsushima. So one thing that I found interesting that I didn't think that I would find interesting was the flashbacks and the cutscenes. I'm not a cutscene guy. I'm not gonna lie. I don't really like it. But at the end of the day, I learned that all of the functions in the plot, they all work together in one perfectly packaged, unique gameplay experience. See, combat here is more like a dance more than anything else. See, what happens here is you don't have any lock on. You have to dynamically move your camera and position yourself so you can see the people behind you at the same time as you fight. And that makes for a very intense and fun combat experience overall. Not to mention that you don't just have one stance. Nope, you have a couple stances, and then that adds to the dynamics because that means that every fight that you get into is engaging because of the fluid movements, the tactical decision making, and the parrying, dodging, and countering gameplay loop is super satisfying. See, with Ghost of Tsushima, you get the best of both worlds. You don't just get that overarching antagonist that sits in the background. Nope, you get the internal conflict as well as the external conflict. Let me explain. Externally, obviously, we have the Mongols within the world of Ghost of Tsushima. That's there. We got it. That's cool. But now we have to understand Jin as a person. We meet him. We have no idea who he is or what is going on. So we learn more about him as we go. And we learn that he is a samurai. Samurai have code. So now he has to go against the code that he was bred to uphold because of the circumstances in front of him. That makes for an engaging and very interesting character. And the game constantly rewards progress. And that means as you grow, you learn as you grow, and you get more skills to dispatch against the enemies that you face. But that is not to say that there weren't some frustrations there. I don't know if this gets fixed later in the game. Now, when I surveyed the camps earlier in the game, I had a few options that I could have chose, but it seemed like the game put me on rails for the plot purposes. So if I wanted to take a different route, if I wanted to try a different thing that may have not worked, I couldn't do it. But that wasn't like a game breaker or anything. At the end of the day, this was a very fun and very rewarding experience. So let's talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, right off the back, I felt more like I was watching the game than playing. I felt like I was sitting in the passenger seat while holding the controller in my hand. And there were a lot of cutscenes there. The game was cutscene heavy, and I believe it was there to help build up the character, but I do feel like that felt short a little bit. One thing was that the characters were kind of distracting, being that they looked like clay and they looked very stiff in their animations. Overall, the opening prologue of the game kind of dragged on too long. I found myself constantly saying, I want to get into it. I want to play. Why do I have this controller in my hand? Let me use it. As far as the combat for Assassin's Creed Shadows, listen, Yasuke's combat was kind of suspect. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't really engaging. I felt like I was hacking through for the sake of hacking through to get through the fight. You do have a lock on, but it doesn't have as much weight to it as I would have liked. It wasn't particularly interesting at the end of the day, but at the same time, I did enjoy Naoe's combat a lot more. Naoe's combat and mechanics were so Assassin's Creed. I felt like this right here, this is Assassin's Creed. This is what the game should be. And it made me wonder, if somebody came to this game to play an Assassin's Creed game, I don't see why they would play Yasuke. Because if you came to an Assassin's Creed game to play a game that's not like Assassin's Creed, you could probably play another game, right? Overall, Yasuke, he has a lack of impact with his strikes, and the button layout for this game was kind of weird. I don't know if it's because I was playing so much Ghost, but it threw me off a little bit. But back to Naoe. Now, her combat is a lot more swift, a lot more fluid, and a lot more fun. That's the type of combat that I like to play, so maybe that might be a matter of preference. Also, her stealth mechanics were great. You could now go prone. I could crawl in the grass. I could crawl on the roof. I could catch you from above. I can catch you from below. This is great. I can knock out lights and hide in the shadows. Oh, it reminds me of Splinter Cell. But overall, Yasuke felt really out of place in this Assassin's Creed game for some reason. His gameplay just doesn't match the franchise's core identity, and I don't know what the hell is going on. As far as the traversal and world design, Ghost of Tsushima bodied this, okay? You don't even have map markers. You don't even have like anything guiding you. No mini map or nothing like that. Instead, you just follow the wind. They really respected you so much that they cleared the screen and said, we're going to immerse you in the beauty of this game, and we're going to let you play. You follow the wind to your objectives. And if you want to pull up the map, you can. Assassin's Creed Shadows, not so much. Okay, you got the big blue dot there, and you got the line on the ground if you want to use the Pathfinder to go where you're going, but it's really distracting. But speaking of distracting, another thing that distracted me was the Artemis thing. I'm not the most hardcore Assassin's Creed player. I'm sorry, it just ain't me. So when the Artemis stuff pops up, I'm just like, I don't even know what's going on. Can I play the game? I don't want to do this right now. I just want to play this game in feudal Japan. That's what this is about. So the contrast between that whole sci-fi element of the Artemis stuff and the feudal Japan stuff, it just clashed so much that it was just like distracting. Even the invisible walls. I never had a preference on a visible wall until today. I would much rather the invisible wall not look like Artemis so that I could stay immersed in the game. Now, moving on to story and pacings. For Assassin's Creed Shadows, the story is fast-paced, but not in a good way. It moves fast. It's one of those stories where if you're not paying attention, you're not going to have any idea what's going on, really. I mean, you could get the gist, but you're not really going to know. And that's very important for learning and loving the characters that you're playing as. And that's why I kind of fell short on Yasuke. Now, they gave her a lot more leeway. You get about 15 minutes of Yasuke learning about him. Yes, he's a slave. Yes, they treat him bad. Okay, now he's a samurai and he can run through doors. Let's get him out of here. Naoe now has a much more compelling story behind her, making you want to play as the character and continue on. But at the same time, it does drag along with the cutscenes that hold you hostage for 2 hours straight. So overall, the first 2 hours of this game feel very slow and disjointed. It's too much time spent watching instead of actually playing the video game. If I want to watch a movie, I could throw on Netflix. So my final verdict for the casual gamers out there, you're coming home every day, you probably got an hour. Let's say you got an hour, right? What are you going to play? Are you going to play Ghost of Tsushima, or are you going to play Assassin's Creed Shadows? Well, I'm going to have to say we're going with Ghost today, baby. Ghost of Tsushima gets you into the game immediately. You become Jin. You become a badass. Yes, he will walk into a compound and clear it himself. He is sick. Shadow makes you watch the game a lot more than you're going to play. So honestly and truthfully, if you break the gaming sessions up, let's say you don't have an hour. Let's say you got about 15, 30 minutes. You're probably going to fall asleep on the game every night. And it's going to take you about 2 weeks before you actually start playing the game itself, I think, after the cutscenes, if you break it up like that. As far as respecting your time, Ghost of Tsushima integrates the story into the gameplay mechanics, so everything you do means something. Now, Shadows makes you sit in the passenger seat with disjointed cutscenes. It really doesn't give you a chance to play. So between the two, which one has better combat? Ghost of Tsushima feels rewarding, it feels skill-based, and it feels immersive. Shadows, Yasuke's combat, it lacks weight, but Naoe's combat can be fun, but at the same time, it has a little stiffness to it as well. So Ghost of Tsushima for sure is one that I'm going to continue playing until the end because it's such an engaging story and it's such a fun time. But that, my friends, is just my take. How about you? Do you like Assassin's Creed Shadows? Are you having a good time? Do you think Ghost of Tsushima is better? Do you think I'm just talking some BS? Let me know in the comments. I love having conversations with you guys. Keep the comments clean, please. Don't argue too much. Don't get too crazy. We all just playing games and showing love. And if you like the content here, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to say what up.